This happened in 2019. 4 friends, Dylan, Mark, Trevor, and Ethan, decided to hike a remote section of the Appalachian Trail. They picked a part deep inside West Virginia. No signal, no nearby towns, just miles of forest. Dylan loved the idea. Finally, real wilderness. Mark wasn't so sure. Yeah, or something worse. Trevor laughed. You watch too many horror videos. Ethan stayed quiet, because he had heard stories about that area. People going missing, strange sounds at night. But he didn't say anything. Day 1. The hike was normal. Trees stretched endlessly in every direction. The forest felt alive. Birds chirped. Wind moved through leaves. Everything felt natural. They reached a small clearing before sunset. Perfect spot for camping. They set up tents, built a fire, cooked food. As darkness fell, the forest changed. The sounds slowly disappeared, one by one, until only silence remained. The first night, around 1:18 a.m., Dylan woke up. The fire had burned low. The others were asleep. Then he saw it. Through the trees, a faint orange glow. Another fire, far in the distance. Dylan sat up. Guys, Mark woke up. There's another campsite. Trevor looked. Maybe other hikers. Ethan frowned. No one passed us all day. The fire flickered between the trees. Far away, but clearly there. Dylan shrugged. Not our problem. They went back to sleep. Day 2 in the morning. They checked the direction of the fire. Nothing. No campsite. No ashes. No footprints. Trevor laughed. Guess we imagined it, because he had noticed something strange. The trees in that direction were different. Darker, thicker, like the forest changed there. The second night, that night, they stayed awake longer, talking, watching the fire. Then around 1:18 a.m., the second fire appeared again. Same place, same distance. Dylan whispered, "There it is again." Mark stood up. That's weird. Trevor grabbed a flashlight. "Let's go check it out." Ethan immediately shook his head. "No," Dylan smirked. Scared, Ethan stared at the fire. That's not a normal fire. The walk. Despite Ethan's warning, Dylan, Mark, and Trevor decided to go. Ethan stayed behind. "Don't go far," he said. They walked into the forest. The light from their camp faded behind them. The second fire flickered ahead, but something felt wrong. No sound, no wind, no insects, just silence. Mark whispered, "Why is it so quiet?" No one answered, because they were all thinking the same thing. The problem, they kept walking, but the fire never got closer. No matter how far they went, it stayed the same distance away. Trevor frowned. That's not possible. Dylan stopped. Wait, he turned around. Their campfire was gone. Not out of sight, gone. Completely. The forest behind them looked unfamiliar. Mark's voice shook. "We came straight," Trevor whispered. "Didn't we?" The voice, then they heard it. From behind them. A voice. Ethan's voice. "Guys, come back." They froze. Dylan whispered, "That's Ethan." Mark shook his head slowly. "No, it's not." Because Ethan was at the camp, and the voice came from deeper in the forest. Then it called again, closer this time. "Guys." Trevor stepped back. That's not him. The return. They ran. Back in the direction they thought was camp. Branches hit their faces. The forest blurred around them. Then suddenly, they saw it. A fire. They stopped. Relieved. That's our camp. They rushed forward. But as they got closer, they slowed down. Something was wrong. The fire looked the same, but the campsite was different. There were no tents, no bags, no gear, just a fire, burning alone. The second campfire. They stood there, confused. Then, someone spoke. From the darkness, "Sit." Dylan turned. A figure stood just beyond the firelight. Tall, thin, barely visible. Mark whispered, "Who's there?" The figure didn't answer. It just pointed at the ground. "Sit." Trevor grabbed Dylan's arm. "We need to go." But Dylan couldn't move, because something else caught his attention. Around the fire, there were shapes, sitting still, watching, not moving. The third night, back at the real camp, Ethan sat alone, watching the forest. At 1:18 a.m., the second fire appeared again. But this time, it was closer, much closer. Ethan stood up. No. Then he heard footsteps behind him. He turned and saw them. Dylan, Mark, Trevor, standing there, silent. Ethan sighed in relief. "Where were you guys?" They didn't answer. They just stood there, looking at him. Then Dylan spoke. "Come sit." Ethan froze, because that wasn't Dylan's voice. The truth. Ethan slowly stepped back. "You're not them." The three figures smiled. At the same time, then all three spoke together. "Sit." The second fire appeared behind them, right inside the clearing. Ethan ran. Without looking back, he ran until sunrise. Until he found the trail. Until he reached safety. The end. Search teams went back. They found the campsite. They found Ethan's gear. But Dylan, Mark, and Trevor were gone. No footprints. No signs of struggle. Nothing. Weeks later, another group of hikers reported something strange. Deep in the forest, they saw a campfire, with 4 people sitting around it, perfectly still, not moving, not speaking, just watching, waiting.
The beginning. This happened in 2021. 3 friends, Jake, Aaron, and Luis, decided to go camping deep inside Olympic National Forest. They wanted isolation, no people, no signal, just nature. They drove for hours, leaving behind the small town of Forks until the road ended. From there, they hiked, deeper, further, until the forest swallowed all sound of civilization. Tall trees blocked the sky. The air felt damp, heavy, almost suffocating. The first sign, they set up camp near a small clearing, a perfect spot, flat ground, surrounded by trees. Jake smiled. Perfect place, no one around for miles. Aaron looked uneasy. "Yeah, that's what worries me." Luis laughed. "Relax, it's just woods." But that night, something changed. Around 2:37 a.m., Jake woke up. He didn't know why. The fire had almost died out. The forest was completely silent. Too silent. Then he heard it. A whistle. Soft, long, echoing through the trees. Jake sat up. "Did you hear that?" Aaron woke up too. "Yeah." Luis opened his eyes. "That's not a bird." The whistle came again. This time closer. The pattern the next morning, they laughed it off. "Probably wind," Jake said. But Aaron shook his head. Wind doesn't whistle like that. They continued exploring the forest, but something felt off. The deeper they went, the quieter it became. No birds, no insects, just silence. That night, the whistle returned. Same time, 2:37 a.m., but this time it wasn't just one. There were 2, from different directions. Luis whispered, "They're answering each other." Jake frowned. Or, calling each other, the marks. The next day, they found something strange. On the trees around their camp, there were marks. Long scratches, deep, like something had dragged claws across the bark. Aaron ran his fingers over one. "This is fresh." Luis looked around. "From what?" "Bears don't do this." Jake didn't answer, because something else caught his attention. The scratches formed a pattern. They weren't random. They circled the camp. The third night, that night, none of them slept. They kept the fire burning. Bright, strong. But at 2:37 a.m., the whistle came again, louder, closer. Then suddenly, it stopped. Silence. Then something else began. Footsteps, slow, heavy, moving through the trees around them, Aaron whispered. "Something's out there." Jake grabbed the flashlight. "Stay here." He stepped toward the edge of the clearing. The beam of light cut through the darkness. Nothing. But then, a shadow moved between the trees. Tall. Too tall. Jake stepped back. "Guys," Luis whispered, "don't go further." But it was too late. The whistle came again. Right behind Jake, the woods. Jake spun around. Nothing. But he felt it. Something close. Watching. Then Aaron shouted, "Look!" Across the clearing, between 2 trees, a figure stood. Its shape was wrong. Too thin. Too long. Its head tilted slightly. And then, it whistled. Exactly like before, Lewis whispered. It's copying the sound. Jake's heart pounded. That's not an animal. The fourth night, they decided to leave in the morning. But that night, something changed. The whistles didn't come from the trees. They came from the camp, from inside the clearing. Close? Too close, Jake whispered. It's inside. The fire flickered. Shadows moved across the ground. Then, footsteps behind them. They turned and saw it standing at the edge of the firelight. Tall, dark, its body barely visible, but its face was empty. No features. Just darkness. Then it whistled again, and another whistle answered. From behind them. They weren't alone. The chase. They ran, grabbing their gear, leaving everything behind. The forest seemed endless. The path they came from was gone. Every direction looked the same. Behind them, the whistles followed, faster, closer, like something was hunting them. Lewis tripped. Fell hard. Go, he shouted. Jake and Aaron stopped. No way. But when they turned back, Luis was gone. Just gone. No sound, no scream, nothing, the escape. Jake and Aaron ran until sunrise. They finally reached the road. Collapsed, exhausted. When they looked back, the forest stood silent. Like nothing had happened, they called for help. Search teams went in, but they never found Luis. No tracks, no body, no sign he was ever there. The last recording, a week later, Jake checked his camera. One clip remained. Recorded at 2:37 a.m., the video showed their camp, the fire burning low. Then, something moved in the darkness. A tall figure stepped into view. It looked directly at the camera and whistled. But the worst part was what came after. From behind the camera, a voice whispered. Luis's voice. It knows your sound now.